So, this is an awesome topic that I am going to upload to two channels. Weightlifting belts. Good, bad, otherwise, what's the deal? I just happened to see a comment on one of my squat videos, and somebody said no belt. And I replied to the comment, and I'm making this video because it's a really good topic. Um, So, weightlifting belts. From what's the truth? Should you use them? Should you not use them? Uh, from what I have learned so far, we don't really know the truth yet. What I mean by that is that there are some studies will tell you, first of all, I think if you're doing like one rep max stuff, like going as heavy as you can for just one rep, um, you should probably use a belt. I would use a belt if I did that, but to avoid injuries, I don't lift that heavy. But that being said, some studies will tell you that using a belt will the whole idea is that it supports your core and your spine. It's something external that you can put on to support your back while you're doing stuff that is going to put a lot of load on your lower back. Some studies will tell you that using a belt will prevent you from engaging your core properly while doing lifts, which will prevent your core muscles from developing to their full potential. um, because if you don't know, when you're doing certain lifts, you have to flex. It's called engaging your core. You have to kind of flex your ab muscles and your oblique muscles in a way that you would if somebody was about to punch you in the stomach and you wanted to like tighten up your stomach so that they wouldn't be able to take the wind out of you. It's that sort of thing. Some studies will tell you that wearing a weightlifting belt will prevent you from doing that properly, which is going to prevent those muscles from developing properly. Some studies will tell you that wearing the belt will not prevent those muscles from developing, and that you can actually brace your core even better when using the belt and proper core bracing technique. That it won't prevent you from developing your core muscles, and you'll be able to brace your core and support your spine even better. And then there's studies that are somewhere in between. Um, I choose to believe the first one, that I never use a weightlifting belt, and I don't think I've actually ever used one ever. Um, and again, I don't go any heavier than 4 or 5 reps. Meaning, again, if you're not well versed in this stuff, if you're doing a set where it's like a 1 rep max, where you're doing one rep, you're going to go really, really heavy, and it's going to be so heavy that you can only do one. Now, you can also lighten it up, take a little bit of weight off, and lower it to a weight where you'll be able to do 4 or 5 or 6, or 8 or 10, whatever it is. But the more reps you do, obviously, the lighter the weight has to be. So I don't go any lower than like 4 or 5 reps, because the heavier you go, even if you're just doing 1 or 2 reps, there is much more injury risk. So again, if I did do really, really heavy lifts where I was only doing 1 rep, I would probably, for certain lifts, I would probably use a belt. Um, because when you're going that heavy, the injury risk is so high that it's it's worth it, in my opinion, to have the added support. But I choose to not use belt. And part of my philosophy is that um, if you're training for like real world, quote unquote, functional strength, and you want your strength to kind of translate into your everyday life, you don't walk around with a weightlifting belt on. So if you're doing, say, deadlifts, like deadlifts are really useful because like they teach you how to properly pick something up from the ground. I mean, it's a complicated movement, but the movement is like a basic fundamental human movement that we always do, that we do a lot. Um, and so if you're deadlifting with a belt, your core bracing technique is going to be a little bit different than if you don't have a belt on. That's kind of the thing too. The technique to brace your core is a little bit different um, with a belt versus without a belt. So if you practice deadlifting without or with a belt, and then you're helping somebody move furniture because they just bought a house or something, you're probably not going to have a weightlifting belt on. And like a lot of the like the way we move, it becomes kind of subconscious, and you don't have to think about it. It's like automatic, muscle memory. And like I said, the technique is different with a belt versus without a belt. And then you go to try to lift that piece of furniture up using and your automatic technique is the technique that you do when you have a belt on, but you don't have a belt on. And then there's more of a chance that you're going to get hurt. That's just kind of how I look at it. But that's about it. Like I said, interesting topic. I hope you got something from this. And I think this really illustrates the fact that there are rarely like this, the answers to these questions, it's rarely black and white. A lot of times the answer is like, it depends. And so, yeah, that's it. Catch you on the next one.